Good morning. I'm Ray Lowe, and I'm your host today for Breaking the Rules. And I'm also the luckiest guy in the world. Now, let me explain what that means. The luckiest guy in the world is not a job title that I have, or it's not a contest that I won. What it is it's a state of well-being. It's how you feel when everything in the world seems to gel for you. And every morning you wake up and life is really good and you get excited about all the things that you have to do that day. And in a sense, why not? Because you've planned them the way you want them. And second of all, at the end of the day, when you get home, you get a chance to sit back and say, well, I had a good day today, and I think I brought value to a lot of people. And again, why not? Because we planned that day to work in those areas where we can truly bring value to other people. And finally, and probably last but not least over here, is that the people around you actually acknowledge you for the value that you bring to the table, and they appreciate you. And again, why not? Because when we are the luckiest guy in the world, we work with those people that we get excited about working with. So the luckiest guy in the world is a state of being, and we hope that all of you can join that state of being, and that's what this show is about. And I'd like to introduce my co-host today, Casey Dempster. And Casey, welcome to Breaking the Rules.
Thank you, Ray. And the reason we call the show Breaking the Rules is because just because things have always been done a certain way doesn't mean that you always have to do them that way. And I'm not necessarily recommending that people go out and steal a car. We're not talking about laws. We're talking about rules. So I have a good quote.
You always do.
Yes,
okay.
And you've heard the first part of this. It's from Steve Jobs. And he says, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. And I was surprised when I was looking online for quotes to see that there was more to it. And the second part of this quote is especially important. It says, don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? It's kind of saying the same thing we do.
Well, it's important. The whole idea is you have your own life, you might as well live it and enjoy it to the fullest.
Right, right. So our theme today is plan your playtime. And I have a surprise for you. I have a second quote.
Okay.
And you're in really good company with these two quotes. We have Steve Jobs, and now we have Robert De Niro. And I wish I could do his New York accent, but Robert De Niro says, time goes on, so whatever you're going to do, do it. Do it. Do it now. Don't wait.
Okay.
What do you think?
It's a great quote.
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about here is that if you don't plan your own time, somebody else is going to plan it for you. Mm-hmm. And you know, when we think about it, time is everything that we have. I mean, you know, money's important up to a point, but the one thing that you can't control is how much time you have. So we want to capture it and make use of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a story. So I have two people that moved into our over 55 community. And I was talking to them about why they moved in, and they said, well, we moved down here to get closer to our grandchildren. And I said, okay, so how's that working out? And I get this stony silence. It's like, well, we guess it's working out okay. We certainly are spending a lot of time with our grandchildren. We're 6-day-a-week babysitters.
Oh.
And unfortunately, we had thought when we moved down here that, you know, a couple of mornings a week would be great. And we'd have the rest of our lives to follow those things that we wanted to do. So the downside of this is they can't be really unhappy. They are doing good things. They are bonding with their grandchildren, but just not the way they had planned. Mm-hmm. And in effect, somebody stole their time.
Right, right. You're very right about that. And you also had a story about traveling.
Yeah, the theme of our show is travel, and our guest that's going to come on in a little bit is probably one of the best travel agents in the world, and he's actually much more than that. And he certainly has done some wonderful things for me. Okay, but what we're talking about here is travel isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. but it certainly is for me. And I think that those people who explore it find that it's more and more for them too. So Sandy and I have been on all 7 continents. Sandy's my spouse, okay? And we've been on all 7 continents. We've been in 45 or 50 different countries. You know, we thought we were doing pretty well. And I found this great little program on the internet. It was something called Travel Buddies. I'm not sure it's still around, but it gave you a chance to check off all the boxes of all the places that you've been. Mm-hmm. And then it prints a map for you that shows you in color where you've been. Okay, pretty cool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm thinking, you know, we've done a pretty good job, and right at the banner on the top of it says, "Congratulations, Ray and Sandy Lowe, you've seen 18% of the world."
Oh, how discouraging.
Well, you know, what you realize all of a sudden is it's really a big world out there. And if you don't have a plan and a path for getting it done, you're just never going to get there, okay?
Right.
And so that plan is really important. Now, I have another story to tell you, too.
You're a master of stories
Well,
today.
okay, so Sandy and I are in Antarctica over here, and I'm going to make this the story short, but you go on expeditions every day, and in fact, a couple times a day. And we had dinner with one couple, and the next day they didn't come out on one of the expeditions and the trips that we took. And that's strange because it's a pretty pricey trip, and people do pretty much everything. And so I cornered them at dinner, and I said, "Okay, where were you today?" And they said, "Well, we looked at the hill we had to walk up to see the penguin colony we were going to see, and we didn't think we could make it."
That's sad.
Well, it's sad because here you are, you work all your life to be able to do these things, and you plan your trip, and then all of a sudden you find out that you can't do things. And that's an important part of planning too, because you want to be able to do these things, so you've got to plan them in the right order. It's not just having your map, there's more to it than that.
Right.
Right?
Right. Right. So don't get stuck not being able to walk up the hill.
Yep. Now, I got another story, okay?
Jackpot.
All right. Well, Sandy and I were in Baja, and we were on an unbelievable whale watching excursion. And again, we met a group of people in this case. So it was Grandma, her son, her daughter, their respective spouses, and the 4 grandchildren that went along with this thing. And, you know, I cornered Grandma when everybody was out doing things, and I said, "So, you know, how did you feel about this?" And she said, "Well, it took me a while to build this into my system, but I paid for this trip, and it is by far the best thing I've ever done. I get to be with my entire family, we get to share experiences, we're building memories, and I just wish I had more time so I could do more."
Wow, that's great. That's a great idea.
Okay, so when we come back, we're bringing Josh Bush in, travel agent extraordinaire, among other things, okay, and he's got some great stories to tell us.
Awesome.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to jumpstart sales.
Build attendance for an event.
Help people find their way. Fast Signs designed new directional signage.
And got them back on track. Get started at fastsigns.com.
Hi, I'm Sylvia, the wine entrepreneur, host of a brand new show called Cooked and Uncorked on RVN TV. Every week at noon on Wednesday, we're going to introduce a brand new wine or spirit with a different chef and their cuisine. It's going to be an exciting way to learn how to pair your food, to sip wine from around the world, and to have a good time. Be there or you might miss your next great wine or your next great meal.
Got a quarter?
Welcome back to Breaking the Rules, and our guest, Josh Bush. Josh, thanks
Ray.
for being with us today.
Ray, thank you for having me.
And you've been in the travel business for how long?
Well, I grew up in the travel business. So it's I'm second generation of a family business. But as an all-knowing teenager, I said that I didn't want anything to do with it. So I went off to school, did my own thing. But as Al Pacino would say, that I tried to get out, but they pulled me back.
Yeah.
So about, 12 years ago, my parents put an amazing proposition in front of me, an offer I couldn't refuse if we're going to keep going along these Godfather references. But travel was a value that was instilled in me at a very, very young age. And when I went off and did my own thing, it was taken away. And so now I had an opportunity to come back into this business and really do something with it, make it my own. And so we took the small local travel agency serving the local community of 4 agents at that point in time. Again, this was 2006, to grow it into Avenue 2 Travel, which is a full-service travel management company today, where we've got 3 separate locations and over 85 people who are working for us throughout the country.
That's amazing, though, because nowadays with people booking travel on the internet, looking for the cheapest trip they can find and doing it all themselves, it's interesting that you are doing so well, that you've had so much growth.
Sure.
What do you?
Well, I mean, the thing is that many people, even former President Obama, had said that travel agents have gone the way of the dinosaur. And one of the things that we're able to do is be a client's advocate. So we're here on your behalf to help you navigate the quagmire of deals and offers and products that's out there. So if you go on the internet and you search for a specific hotel, you're going to get hundreds, if not thousands, of different responses. And so what we can do is come in and not only make the proper recommendation, but it's our relationships that we have with a number of these places that are enabled to make sure that you've got the trip that you're looking for. When we sit down with a client for the first time, we don't even talk about where you want to go or what you want to do, but really, why is it that you want to travel? What's your purpose behind that trip? And then more importantly, what's that feeling that you want to have when you get there? And if we get that information, then we can start to make the right recommendations of again, destinations, hotels, tours, all of that type of thing to make sure that you've got the trip of exactly what you're looking for.
That's a great approach.
Well, I know from my limited travel experience, we're going to get into what yours is.
You're limited, right.
But I have a limited travel experience. But the travel agent is really an important resource for me, and not only from the standpoint of building where I want to go, but what happens when you get into trouble somewhere. And I'll give you an example. So I was in Toronto not too long ago. We had a snowstorm in Philadelphia. All the flights were canceled. I needed to get back. One call to your operation, and the flight was rescheduled. I was rebooked and whisked away to Philly. I got in plenty of time.
Yeah, well, Ray, you bring up an absolute great point. I mean, we're here to be your support system, to be your safety net. Many times in a flight cancellation situation, you're literally on the plane, and now you're getting off of that plane with a couple of hundred other people, and there's one person who's sitting at that service desk to try to rebook everybody. And we all know that there's only a handful of flights. In many of those cases, our air department have been proactive and have already gotten that and have hopefully protected you on something else. But when everyone else is in line, you also only have one phone number to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to talk to somebody on my team to be able to get you fixed up and squared away and booked on that. And if for some reason we can't get you on the next flight, at the very least we're getting you maybe one of the 10 hotel rooms that are available. So at least you have a place to lay your head, because every once in a while even I am subject to delays and problems, and I have spent the night in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport next to the baggage claim, and it's not exactly the most best place to stay. So I'm glad that we have people behind us to make sure that our clients are taken care of.
Well, thank goodness we still have somebody giving personal service in here.
Right.
Okay, let me do an about face from now. We're going to get back to the travel world and what you do, but tell us about you. So I gave my little map performance a while ago.
Okay.
How many continents have you been on?
So I've been on all 7 as well.
Okay.
Did that before my 35th birthday.
How many countries have you been in?
72.
72.
Is my current. Yeah, I just looked up on my phone. I've got this little app called Bin, which does very similar to what you were talking about. You're able to go and plug in all your countries. And again, it's very disheartening when it says that you've only achieved a certain percentage of the world that's out there. So
Okay.
there's lots more to see and do.
And travel is just, it's more than just going and seeing places. So I understand you have an adventure set up next year?
Well, no, actually in 2 months.
2 months.
In October, I will be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Again, another little bucket list item. So I turned 40 this year, so I'm kind of going through a little bit of a midlife crisis. And, of those things, climbing to 20,000 feet was one of those things that I wanted to check off on my list of experiences.
Okay, well, get up there and let me know how it is, okay?
Well, the air will be a little thin,
and,
so...
and then you're going to book my trip for that, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to go again and do it together.
Cool. All right, so when we get back into what you do for other people, we're going to talk about this wonderful system that you've created, which I got really excited about because I've been looking for this for years and years and years. But when you check off the value of a good travel agent, you mentioned experience. What other things are important in here? What are some of the things that you do?
Yeah, so remember, that we do this day in and day out. So we know what are the right properties, the distances from airports, geography, all of that types of stuff you can leave to us. But I think probably the most important thing is, again, our relationships. So we're working with hoteliers and tour operators and guides on a daily basis so that we make sure that when you're traveling, we call and say, hey, my friend Ray is coming and you need to take care of him. It's a lot easier to call a friend and make sure that you're being VIP'd and that you're being taken care of and that all of your specific wants and needs are addressed as well. So perhaps you have a gluten allergy, or perhaps that you don't drink alcohol, or maybe you're trying to be a little bit healthier and you want to make sure that you've got fruits and nuts in your room for a welcome amenity. It's those types of things with our relationships that create value adds for our clients that they wouldn't be able to get out for themselves. Many cases, for the same price that they would pay for that hotel room, they're going to be getting an upgrade, a free breakfast. Again, other types of welcome amenities, and then again, that personal touch that really makes that stay special.
That's great. You're making me reconsider my travel plans, but we have to take a break. So we're going to have to talk more when we come back, yes?
Okay, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this incredible tool, and I don't want to forget to talk about the importance of time and what you do to help us save time there, too.
Of course.
Okay, break time, and we'll be back with Josh.
Have you ever worried about missing out on life-changing experiences or dread the regret of someday never happening? When we're young, we often take our freedom for granted. And before we know it, life's responsibilities tie us down, keeping us from exploring the world. When our kids are young, we dream of sharing new places with them. But in the blink of an eye, they're heading off to college, while we're left to reflect on missed moments and memories. We'll travel when we're retired, we might say. And then life throws us yet another curveball. We end up asking ourselves, where did the time go? How did we miss out on so much? Our most valuable, non-renewable asset is our time. So why isn't protecting our precious time a bigger priority when lifelong memories are at stake? We make sure to manage things like education, retirement, and even our estates. But isn't it a bit ironic that we put more thought into planning for when we're gone than we do for creating the life we want to live today? The truth is, regret is a lousy place to visit. But the road to a better life starts with a better map. That's exactly why we created a way to help our clients live a full life without regret. One where we could treat travel like a lifelong journey instead of a sprinkling of one-offs. By merging the spirit of the bucket list with the planning of a financial advisor, we help clients create an inventory of time and create a portfolio of memories, where ROI means return on life. Like advisors who manage your other assets, our unique consulting model provides the ability to orchestrate your dreams. We help clients ditch the one-offs and realize their dreams, all in your personalized life map. In the world's first travel portfolio, your messy bucket list transforms into thoughtful travel plans where memories are made and amazing things happen. Imagine feeling a childlike giddiness, knowing all the exciting experiences that await you. Stop living day to day and start living experience to experience. Be first in line to reserve those lifetime moments and feel confident forecasting what to invest. But want to know the best part about creating a travel portfolio? You'll be assured of a life full of cherished memories with no regrets for missed opportunities. Are you ready to enjoy your life and the world? Get started today.
Welcome back, and we're here with Josh Bush, who does everything for Avenue Travel, right? CEO, Chief Travel Agent, traveler around the world. That's part of your job, too. Tough job. Yeah. Okay. Take a minute and let's talk about time. You know, everybody thinks that when you're traveling the world and stuff like that, you know, it's all about money, and money can be a significant part.
Sure.
But you know, most people only have so much free time, so much vacation time. So how do you help people?
Sure. I mean, time is your most precious non-renewable asset. I mean, it's the one thing we can't get back in any given day. And so one of the things that our team does is really help you do a number of things. One, we're going to make sure that that trip is absolutely perfect, because if you've only got a week or you've only got 2 weeks, the last thing you want to have happen is anything go wrong. So we want to make sure that all of that is laid out and planned perfectly ahead of time. So first is just maximizing the vacation that you have. But then the second piece is, how do we help you plan for those things that you want to accomplish in life? I mean, everybody's heard about the bucket list, right? And everybody has dreams and goals of where they want to go. And so invariably over the last, 2-3 decades, our great travel advisors have been working with their clients to organize those bucket lists kind of in a non-organized fashion. And so that kind of led us to the point where we said, hey, we need to do something different here, and how do we put some process behind this? How do we codify it and make sure that when we do sit down with individual clients, we've got a tool to help them plan out their time and to make sure that they're going to be able to see the destinations and do the things that they're most interested in, whether it be with themselves or with their spouse or with their family or their extended family for that matter.
Cool.
So you've created this tool, and I think one of the neatest things about it is when you have a couple who want to travel together and have differing interests and differing preferences, this tool is supposed to help them come together?
So I'm really proud to introduce our program called Virtuoso Orchestrator. And what Orchestrator does is it allows each individuals to participate almost in the Netflix of travel. So you'd be able to log on with your spouse, with your kids. You'd be able to do this individually, and you look at all of the destinations across the world. You look at different countries, different continents. If you don't know about a specific place, there are videos and more information that you can delve deeper into. And then it's just a simple thumbs up, thumbs down type of tool where you say, yes, I want to go to Iceland, but Mongolia maybe is not high on my list, that type of thing. But as you each go through this own process, you then move into a phase where you're talking about experiences. What are the things that you like to do when you get there? Is it everything from going to shows? Are you a foodie? Are you interested in wine? Or maybe it's horseback riding, whatever it might be. Takes all of those into account. Then what happens is our algorithm behind the scenes will help us combine all of those thumbs up, thumbs down into a matrix where we're able to then look at each of you individually and then prioritize. So we can see what's important for you, Ray, and your wife, or what if you all wanted to travel as couples together? You can help prioritize what those trips are. And then we can use a lot of information like historical data to project out what the price of those trips will be. So now you're looking at a plan that is not just one trip at a time, but 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15, as far into the future as you want to go. And again, as you're working with multiple different people, constituencies in your life, they all have a say. And so everybody gets to put their 2 cents in.
Wow. So, this can be critical. I know that one of the things I get excited about, I don't have kids and grandchildren, but I've seen so many people travel with grandchildren and families. And how do you get the family to take the same block of time off at the same time and agree on where they want to go? And how do you do that? So this gives you raw data, right?
Exactly. So one of the things that we encourage families in particular to do is get together and make it a fun night. So we'll throw some things in to make it enjoyable. So whether it's popcorn, maybe some wine for mom and dad, that type of thing, and everybody gets together on their own device, and they can all do it simultaneously. So if you've got a couple of iPads and you got one person on a laptop, or even if you've got your own home where you put it up on the big screen, each person can go through it individually and then bring their results together after that.
Cool. One of the things I've learned, and it seems like every time I go to a place that was on my bucket list and I say I get to check it off, two more appear.
Right.
And one of the issues that you get into is this ability to worry about physical abilities after a while. So if you can group the things that are more difficult earlier, it's great to do that. And all this tool will help you do all that?
So the blessing and the curse of this tool is exactly what you said, which is, you say that you like 1, 2, and 3 things. Well, that's going to give us information to say, well, you might also want to consider this, that Amazon method.
Okay.
But now that we've got everything all out together on the table, that's where the real magic happens. And so, that heartbreaking story you said at the beginning of the segment of that couple that couldn't climb the hill to see the penguin rookery, those are things where we would sit down, depending on where you are in your life stage, and help you prioritize those trips to make sure that you are climbing Kilimanjaro before you have to have your knees redone, or are able to go see that penguin rookery, or that you're going to Disney when it's the right time for your kids or your grandkids to be there, where it's going to really benefit them and they're going to have the most enjoyment out of it, not when they're 21,
Right.
that type of thing. So we can help you plan all of those different things out.
Right. And also, like with this couple that Ray referred to, I think that part of their delay in doing this until they were not physically able was that they had financial concerns. Right. And they were trying to get everything arranged in their life so that they felt comfortable that they would be okay through their retirement years. So do you work with that as well?
So the beauty of this is that not only will you have an online plan, but we'll give you a written book. And we'll have cost estimates in it so that you'll know exactly what you could expect from price. And we use historical data to extrapolate inflation and other types of things going into the future. So that way you can literally take this book and this plan to your own financial advisor and say, these are the things that we want to do in our lifetime. And this is what it's going to cost us. And this is what it's going to cost us 5 years from now. This is what it's going to cost us 10 years from now. And that really helps that financial advisor be able to figure out, one, how much money do we need to be saving, what type of return that we need to have, how is that going to then divest over time, all that types of stuff. So just as you would go to that financial advisor to figure out how you're going to accumulate wealth, I'm here to help you with the fun side of it, which is how do you spend that.
And a lot of people don't know how to do that.
Oh, absolutely. So this is my guilt-free spending cookie jar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is leave it to your kids. Now, don't tell my parents. But I mean, that's one of the things is that we're helping people accomplish the things that they want to in their life. And for many, travel is an aspiration and a dream they've always had, and we can make sure that they get every single ounce of it.
Okay, so all this from my travel agent that I thought I could just go online and book everything, right? And go ahead.
But Ray, that comes back to what I said before, is the reason why someone would work with us is about the relationship. And so, yes, it's our relationship with our travel partners, but ultimately it's our relationship with you. We want to know you, what your hopes and dreams are, and we're going to be your advocate. We're going to work on your behalf, and we're going to help you make travel dreams come true.
Okay, so when we're ready to book with you, how do we find you?
So avenue2travel.com, that's TWO, is a great way. We've got an amazing website. The majority of all of our advisors are on there, and they're ready and willing to work with you, and we'd love to hear from you.
That's great. Cool. And since they can do it through the internet, they're not limited geographically to where you are.
No. So again, many of our advisors are all over the country. And while we love to have people come into our office and sit down with us, the majority of our business is done over email and phone.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you for telling us about this wonderful tool. It adds a whole new dimension to the way you think. And I wish I would have had this 40 years ago, because you think about the planning you could have done and how I would not be running up against these age barriers that I have to worry about now. Yeah. So again, this is something we had to start early, make part of the family, make part of the financial planning process, and whatever we do, go out and explore the world, because we know it's a big place, right?
Ray, thank you so much for your time today. This
was
great.
Thanks for being
it.
here,
yeah,
Josh.
My pleasure.